There's no shot. Yeah, I mean, this is like, oh God, if you want more Hunter shavers, you should support access to puberty blockers. I've been a majority reporter subscriber one way or another since Bush. I stopped listening this year. I just can't. Her on Reddit 4 days ago. Yeah, she sucks. Hessa retweeted someone that called this evil seeking derangements. Oh, come on. That's fucked up. A Hananya classic. Let's say Jeffrey Epstein wants to have sex with a 14-year-old girl, and I will pay her $10 million. The money will go into a mutual fund that they will pay out when she's 21. The girl agrees, as do both her parents. Should this be allowed? And are you male or female? That's Richard Hananya. Seeking derangements as a trans woman, and Ben looks like Hananya if he looked handsome. I disagree with this sentiment. He's Palestinian Christian. Some of them go really hard, right, when they grow up in America. How would you know, Capri Sun Poppy? I'm just kidding. It is fucking nutty. I don't understand how you can be a fucking Palestinian Christian and be a white supremacist, dude. It's nuts. It's nuts. And he's pro-Israel too.
Hi everyone, it's Samantha Lux. Welcome back to my channel. Now, how many of you out there are fans of sports? Me neither. How many of you out there are fans of religion? Me neither. No hate whatsoever. You know, we love our sports fans. We love our religion fans. But I personally have never really been into it. And honestly, I could never figure out why exactly that was. But this last week, Mr. Harrison Butker, he solved the mystery for us. Thank you so much. This Kansas City Chiefs football player had the amazing honor of doing a commencement ceremony speech at some random college, I'm not really sure. But actually, Butker did not take the time to congratulate the graduates or to give them a little pep talk about how amazing their careers are going to be. Instead, he took the time to say this.
Not the deadly sin sort of pride that has an entire month dedicated to it, but the true God-centered pride. So I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. Be unapologetic in your masculinity. fighting against the cultural emasculation of men.
Yeah. That's what people need to hear on their graduation day. That's what they need to hear. Imagine on your graduation ceremony day, the commencement ceremony speech giver says, you're gonna make a great homemaker. Wait until you find yourself a nice man and then your life will start and it'll be lovely. His wife sitting in the audience like, that wasn't on the script, babe. I did not proofread that. For today's video, we're going to be watching some of my favorite parts from this speech. Not the whole thing. It's a lot of filler, I have to say. But I do feel the need to go over some of the most inflammatory things that he said and kind of fact check it for you guys. So you're welcome. My name is Samantha Lux. I post new videos every single week here on my channel where I give you my opinion, my perspective as a trans woman who studied media. So yeah, if you guys are not yet subscribed and you would like to be, go ahead and do that right now. I'll wait for you. Go ahead. Nail ASMR ending in 5, 4. Are you done? Thank you so much. I also have an Instagram, a Twitter, and a TikTok, so make sure to follow me over there to keep us up to date with me as possible. I also have a Twitch where I stream video games all the time. We have a great time over there. We're playing Ocarina of Time right now. It's so much fun. And finally, I also have a Patreon, so if you guys like the work that I do here on my channel and you would like to support me and support the channel, Patreon is a great way to do that. So thank you guys so much. But yeah, other than that, let's get into the video. What I want to do is watch some of the most outrageous moments of this speech and react to it. So first clip, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 2024, I would like to start off by congratulating all of you for successfully making it to this achievement today. I'm sure your high school graduation was not what you had imagined, and most likely neither was your first couple years of college. By making it to this moment through all the adversity thrown your way from COVID, I hope you learned the important lessons that suffering in this life is only temporary.
Okay, first 27 seconds, not too shabby, right? I can get behind that, Mr. Leopard Print High. I can't not talk about it. It's the see you next Tuesday word. So far, so good. No complaints yet, right? Just wait.
As a group, you witnessed firsthand how bad leaders who don't stay in their lane can have a negative impact on society.
There we go, another truth already, but this one, I'm afraid he forgot to take into consideration when he wrote this speech. How are you gonna be telling people to stay in their lane and then come out with some shit like this, my guy? I'm sorry, you guys are like, what are you talking about? This isn't any craziness yet, so we're gonna get there. Don't worry, stay with me, we're getting there.
While COVID might have played a large role throughout your formative years, it is not unique. Bad policies and poor leadership have negatively impacted major life issues. Things like abortion, IVF, surrogacy, euthanasia, as well as a growing support for degenerate cultural values in media, all stem from the pervasiveness of disorder. Our own nation is led by a man.
He took too many hits on the bong, girl. One too many mushroom microdoses for you, my guy. Does he not know that Roe v. Wade was overturned? Because he's talking smack about abortion and saying that Biden is like pushing abortion or making it okay or something. Is the opposite not happening right now? And the last part, what did he say? The growing support for degenerate cultural values in media. Are you talking about me, girl? Are you talking about the transies? Say it to my face. I mean, he's not wrong. There is a growing support for trans people in the media. That's just a fact. People love us. People love seeing us in the media. GLAAD's Accelerating Acceptance report actually found that 75% of non-LGBT adults feel comfortable seeing LGBT people in advertisements. 75%, babe. 3 out of 4. Do you know your math? He doesn't. He's a football player. Let's be real. No shame to the football players. I know you guys start out smart, but y'all be getting the brain trauma. And it's showing. I'm sorry. Is that mean? Is that... Am I gonna get canceled? Am I gonna get demonetized? Listen, he's talking about us like we're degenerate media things. Like, I don't even care. 73% of non-LGBT adults report feeling comfortable seeing LGBTQ characters included in TV shows or movies. 68% of non-LGBT adults feel comfortable seeing an LGBTQ family with children included in an advertisement. And it is really interesting because you look at this man, he's a very successful football player. You know, he's probably got a lot of money. He's got a wife and family. So like, why are you so focused on the LGBT people? Why do you care? You seem to be living a great life, so just go live your life. Leave us alone. It's so interesting how some people can see LGBT people in media and just be like, oh yeah, that's cool, that's interesting. And then some people do this. Some people give commencement ceremony speeches about how it's degenerate and how it's wrong and how it's being, you know, wrongfully normalized. What's going on, sir? What is the real reason you are so loud and proud against the LGBT community? What's the real reason? Let us know. This is one of the reasons I personally can't get behind like going to big sports games and stuff like that, because like the sport itself, like cool, it's a game, it's fun to watch, but I'm sure a lot of people there are great people. But there is a very large portion of sports fans and these, you know, religious people, because he's kind of, you know, he's like the middle of the Venn diagram. A lot of these people have no tolerance for the LGBT community or anybody that is not following their traditional values. My guy, I'm cool with you living your life and worshiping and doing whatever you want to do. Why can't you be cool with me living my life? What is it about me living authentically that is so triggering for you? These are the people ruining sports for everybody. These are the people ruining religion for everybody. Like, just shut up. Something deeper must be going on here, because if he was truly the confident, successful man that he is portraying himself to be, I don't think he would be that caught up on LGBT people. I really don't.
Our own nation is led by a man who publicly and proudly proclaims his Catholic faith, but at the same time is delusional enough to make the sign of the cross during a pro-abortion rally. He has been so vocal in his support for the murder of innocent babies that I'm sure to many people, it appears that you can be both Catholic and pro-choice.
This is what we're talking about, right? It's the lack of critical thinking. It's the lack of like the deeper evaluation for your own morals. Like, you're just blindly following what this book says because that's what you believe is like the moral right thing to do. But like, what if your book said that it was okay to kill everybody? Suddenly it's okay to kill everybody. You can't like have the critical thinking in your brain to be like, you know what? Maybe that's not right. Maybe that's not accurate. You can't understand how some people could have like a differing opinion, like could come to a different moral perspective than you. It's the cherry picking of religion that we see all the time. Like, I can guarantee that this man is sinning currently on stage. Allegedly.
From the man behind the COVID lockdowns to the people pushing dangerous gender ideologies onto the youth of America, they all have a glaring thing in common. They are Catholic.
That's interesting. That's an interesting one. I've never heard that one before. He's arguing that the people pushing gender ideology, we'll talk about that in a second, are Catholics. He's talking shit about Catholics? Okay. Let's talk about this term, gender ideology, right? It's not real. There's no such thing as gender ideology. Gender ideology is a term that was made up by trans folks, by people that do not believe or accept that trans people are just trans. It's a very transparent attempt to shift the perspective of transness from being just who somebody is, you know, just an identity, to an ideology, something that somebody is potentially persuaded into believing, rather than just, you know, a part of who somebody is. That is not how being trans works. Like, even before this whole new wave of trans people and gender ideology and whatever you want to talk about, before this all started blowing up over the past maybe 20 years, people were still transitioning, right? People were traveling across the globe to access gender affirming care. People were creating their own forms of gender affirming care. Like, people have been transitioning since people were around, and framing a transition as a result of having this gender ideology pushed on you, it is their way of framing transness as something that is being done to kids. It's an ideology that's being pushed onto them. It's this new illness. It's this new disease. It's this new belief that is taking over, like Scientology. You know, transness has always been a thing. People have always been transitioning. I don't know, get a hobby or something. Don't you have a football to kick?
The world around us says that we should keep our beliefs to ourselves whenever they go against the tyranny of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We fear speaking truth because now, unfortunately, truth is in the minority. Truth is being silenced. No, maybe that's just not the truth anymore. Maybe people are just learning more. Maybe people are like, 2 + 2 no longer equals 5. Like, It's like the theories with the planets, right? At one point, everybody believed that the Earth was the center of the universe because that's just what we understood to be real, right? But then more information came out, more was learned, and we discovered that the sun was actually the center of the universe. Compare that to today, I'm the center of the universe. I'm just kidding. It's the same sort of thing. We've learned more about different identities and different people and different cultures and different ways of life, and people are just respecting that now. Doesn't mean that it's a brand new way of life. It's just maybe new to you. Duh. Okay, guys, now we get to the famous part. Now we get to the good stuff, right? Satanic pride. I'm sorry, wait, no, he didn't say satanic pride. What did he say? Let's play it. This didn't happen by chance. In a deliberate movement to embrace traditional Catholic values, Benedictine has gone from just another liberal arts school with nothing to set it apart to a thriving beacon of light and a reminder to us all that when you embrace tradition, success, worldly and spiritual, will follow.
I'm sorry, I just gotta say, I gotta throw it in there. Genuinely, I am happy for anybody that lives a life of tradition and is able to find happiness and comfort in that life. But that is just not the case for everybody, right? A lot of people have religious trauma. A lot of people have trauma from the church because of who they are and because the church did not accept who they are. I understand living a religious life. I do. I have friends who are religious. I have a religious friend, I swear. There are ways to live in harmony with your religion. It needs to be said that for LGBT people or people that aren't, the traditional norm, it's a lot harder, if not impossible, to, live within these traditions. And again, it comes down to this, I respect you for living a life of tradition. I respect you for living the life the way that you choose to live. Why can't you do the same for me, right? I would help you set up your prayer altar, whatever it is, whatever you need to do, I would be there for you. I would help you if you were my friend. Not this man, I would not help him. And I would expect that if I did that for you, you'd be willing to just be like, okay, you live your life the way that you want to. And I accept and support you for being you. It cannot go without notice that religion has caused so many people so much pain and so much self-hatred and confusion that is just not fair. He talks about throughout this whole speech how Catholics need to be strong and to, not be nice Catholics and to speak these hard truths. How about no? I could not ever support any sort of establishment that tells people they need to be a certain way to be happy or to reach salvation. That is manipulation, right? You wouldn't say to somebody, you need to behave this way or I'm gonna burn you alive. You don't say that to people, right? That's a bit manipulative, if not threatening and illegal. Why would God say that to anybody? I don't think he would. I don't think if God is this just and perfect being in the sky or whatever, wherever, I don't think that they would do that. I really don't. I'm going off on a tangent now, so let's just continue.
I'm certain the reporters at the AP could not have imagined that their attempt to rebuke and embarrass places and people like those here at Benedictine wouldn't be met with anger, but instead met with excitement and pride. Not the deadly sin sort of pride that has an entire month dedicated to it, but the true God-centered pride that is cooperating with the Holy Ghost to glorify him.
Cooperating with the Holy Ghost to glorify him. That sounds a little fruity. That's just a little gay. I'm sorry. Don't cancel me. I'm sorry. Not the deadly sins, babe. Needless to say, pride is not about celebrating deadly sins, right? I mean, maybe that kombucha meme. Maybe it is. You never know. No, it's not. It's not. Here on this channel, we all know what pride is about, right? Pride was started as a protest to combat anti-LGBT laws. Laws such as ones that outlawed gay marriage, laws such as ones that made it illegal to wear clothing of the opposite gender in public. The list goes on. Pride was the necessary protest that fought back against those. But again, I'm sorry, are you not a sinner? Another call out against the LGBT community. Why are you so pressed? Who hurt you? Oh my God. I bet it was the church that hurt him, to be honest. I'm gonna say it, okay? Confident straight men don't act like this. They don't. They just don't. Self-aware men don't act like this, right? People who love themselves don't act like this. I talk about doing the internal work all the time, but people who have really done the internal work to break down the prejudices and the problematic beliefs that they have in the back of their mind, I talk about that work all the time. It is such important work to do to be a capable human being. People that do that kind of work don't say things like this, right? They don't, babe. Clearly, there is something going on with this man. I hate to call the homophobes gay. I hate to call the transphobes trans, but Mr. Leopard Prince, huh? I'm sorry, but let's be fucking for real. Let's be for real. I'm not saying anything about this man specifically, but I have seen such a trend, I'll say, of DL men. If you don't know what a DL man is, it stands for down low. Somebody who may be a little gay on the down low, a little secretly gay, a little subtle hookup. Those men have the most to say against LGBT people. Right. It's like when the short guy gets a really, really big truck, they're like compensating. That's the word. They're overcompensating. I would never be gay. That's gross, man. I hate the gays and that's a sin. That's awful. Grindr notification goes off. Not my phone going off. It was Twitch, I swear. I did see a twink on TikTok saying that he saw this man on Grindr, but I'm not going to go into any of that kind of stuff because I'm not the type of person to out somebody. I just think that's horrible. But I'll just say I've seen it happen before, and it would not surprise me if this man was a homosexual. There's something deep down inside of him that makes him really uncomfortable when it comes to gay people. It's the internalized homophobia. No, I do feel like it's important to clarify that, obviously not all homophobia is a result of somebody just like refusing to accept their own gay identity. But I do think that that is something that happens sometimes. But more than that, it's just the people that aren't confident in who they are. You know what I mean? They get their whole personality off of a book, honey. They get their whole life morals from a book, honey. An old, ancient, dusty, crusty, falling apart book. They haven't done the internal work to figure out who they are. They haven't done the internal work to figure out their morals. So they have nothing else to follow besides rules telling them that it's a sin to be gay, even when they're f***ing guys on Grindr.
Reading that article now shared all over the world, we see that in the complete surrender of self and a turning towards Christ, you will find happiness. Right here in a little town in Kansas, we find many inspiring lay people using their talents. President Minnis, Dr. Swafford, and Dr. Zimmerer are a few great examples right here on this very campus that will keep the light of Christ burning bright for generations to come.
Then that's wonderful. Proud of them for that. I really am. I'm so proud of them for that. I love that for them. I do. But I don't give a I don't. I'm not religious. I don't have to submit to a life of Christ and God and holiness to be happy. In fact, I think I'd be quite unhappy if I did that, right? What's that song by Chapel Roan? Somebody play that song for this man. You're gonna miss your little twink in 30 years, babe. I'm sorry, I can't. Allegedly, I swear, it's just a joke.
Being locked in with your vocation and staying in your lane is going to be the surest way for you to find true happiness and peace in this life. It is essential that we focus on our own state in life, whether that be as a layperson, a priest, or religious. Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 2024, you are sitting at the edge of the rest of your lives.
We're moving on. Let's move on to what he had to say to the ladies, right? Because like I said in the beginning, he had some very interesting, choice words of encouragement for these women that had just graduated from this college, right? Can we just take a second to just do some deep breathing? Everybody, picture in your mind, it's your graduation day. You just spent 4, maybe 4.5, maybe 5, maybe 6 years studying your little booty off and working hard and writing them papers, doing that stuff, sleeping with the professors. I'm just kidding. Imagine you do all that. You're at your little graduation ceremony, looking forward to the rest of your life and booking them little interviews for your upcoming job. Birdie's pissed. She hates this man. And this guy comes out and gives this little speech.
For the ladies present today, congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives. I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother.
The tears forming in his eyes. My wife's life truly started when she had my babies. The rage is building up in my head. I'm like, Isabel, stand the up. Get up, Isabel. I can't. Ladies, you've had the most diabolical lies told to you that you'll be successful in your career. Okay, maybe he didn't say that, but that was the impact that I got. You've had the most diabolical lies told to you that, this is my Harrison Butker impression, that you are gonna lead happy and successful, my nails, happy and successful careers, but, why does he sound like Trump? But it's actually my babies that you'll be having that will make you the most happy. My guy, it's not. It must be so nice to be a straight, cis, white man, you know what I mean? To just have the whole fucking world made for you. To have literal women be born out of their mother's bodies and live their whole entire lives just to carry your children. That must be amazing. Just to create the perfect home for you and to raise your children just for you. That's just wonderful. We love that. I hate this man. I really do. He's making me so mad. So mad. Isabel. Somebody save Isabel, for real. Also, who is clapping? Who is clapping after he said this stuff? The woman yes. I can't wait to throw my degree away. I can't wait to be sitting in debt for the rest of my life just to raise a baby. Not to say just to raise a baby. I know that's very difficult work. And if you would like to be a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home parent, that is perfectly amazing. A wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing to do. I'm sure it's very, very difficult work. So me saying all of this is not to knock that or to talk down on that. I think that's amazing. I'm gonna stop talking about it now because I'm over-explaining. But to be a man up on the stage who plays football, my God, you play football, but to tell these degree-achieving women that their biggest accomplishments in their life are gonna be having a man's baby is oh my God. Men like this truly do not see women as their own people. They don't. I don't care what you have to say. They don't. And I'm not arguing about it.
To the gentleman here today, part of what plagues our society is this lie that has been told to you that men are not necessary in the home or in our communities. As men, we set the tone of the culture. And when that is absent, disorder, dysfunction, and chaos set in.
The absence of men in power is what leads to chaos. Did I hear that correctly? Did I hear that correctly? I'm sorry. This man is so dumb. So stupid. Women are just too emotional to lead. We have to be strong and leaders. Didn't you just start crying? You're the emotional one. Just kidding. Crying is not weakness, I swear. Men, you don't have to listen to this. You do not. Just be a good person, bestie. You don't have to rule your wife. You don't have to rule the world. You don't have to lead the world. Just be a good person, please. That's all we're asking. Don't hit us, please. That's all we're asking.
Plays a large role in the violence we see all around the nation.
The lack of men in power leads to violence. I'm gonna need to see some sort of citation. I do. This is a college graduation. You know how to do citations. Bring them to me. There is absolutely no evidence, nothing, nada, that shows that the emasculinization of men or that not having men in power leads to violence. He just made that up. It leads to violence in his own brain because he thinks, well, if I'm not in charge, then that is just craziness to me and I have to be in charge. So that's violence to him.
Other countries do not have nearly the same absentee father rates as we find here in the U.S. and a correlation could be made.
I can't. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with this speech. I am. I wonder if anybody like got up and left during their graduation. I think Benedictine is like a Catholic school, so maybe they were like more prepped for it, but interesting. So a few things just to sum up, right? Women, your greatest accomplishments in life are whatever you want them to be, okay? You do not need to be a homemaker. You do not need to have children. You do not need to marry a man to have a happy, successful life. The same goes for men. You do not have to be this strong leader, like, in emotionally numb caricature that he is telling you to be. That is not going to lead you to happiness. I would argue it even hasn't led him to true happiness because, babe, what are you still doing on Grindr? I'm sorry, allegedly. Secondly, he talks about how the normalization of gender ideology has led to this disarray in the world and has led to the downfall of the world or whatever he said. Really? Really? Like I said, the majority of Americans, of non-LGBT Americans, support LGBT representation in media. They support LGBT families in media. A massive chunk of people even support Pride nights for sports teams, my guy. So you're the outlier here. Like, oh my God, this video and this speech has been seen millions and millions and millions of times. And like, imagine the impact it could have had if he was supportive of LGBT people, if he was encouraging to women about their futures in whatever careers they choose. Imagine the impact it could have had. No, instead he chose to refer to the LGBT community as sinful. He chose to tell women that their greatest accomplishments in life are going to be being a mother, getting married, even saying that his own wife's life didn't start until she married him and had his kids. Girl, if you need help, blink twice. The one thing that he did say that I will agree with to end this video is that it is imperative that this generation realize the lies that we're being told. It is not necessary to submit to a life of God and tradition to be happy. In fact, I think you'd be better off on your own. If you can find a way to live in harmony with your religion and with traditions that you've been raised around, that is amazing. I am so happy for you and all the power to you. But if you haven't, that's okay too. It does not mean you won't be.
Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on in and sit on down because today we're talking about the wealthy, baby. But here's the thing. They're hiding in plain sight. You ever see a beautiful woman, but it looks like she's dressed like a Native American woman? Oh. You ever see a poor kid on the streets of Portland walking around with the newest and latest tech, yet he looks like a poor piece of shit? Well, you, my friends, might have come in contact with a Trustafarian. Trustafarians, a beautiful new slang that's come up. Trustafarians is one of my new favorite things to happen online right now. But you're probably thinking to yourself, now Hunter, what exactly is a Trustafarian? Well, let me tell you. A Trustafarian is a wealthy young person who adopts an alternative lifestyle incorporating elements from non-Western cultures. You ever see a bunch of white bitches walking around with headdresses or some shit? Yeah, Nick has. He's like, oh, baby, the dating apps are full of them. It's basically rich kids cosplaying as poor, you know what I mean? Van life. They only walk with their bare feet. You know what I'm talking about? It's just the little things that build up, which, you know, you've probably seen this little hippie duo dancing around that people make a lot of funny memes on. Me and my friends pretending to be poor to go to Coachella. These people have wealthy parents or some kind of wealthy support system that is funding their, you know, holistic, down-to-earth lifestyle because they're so hip. But really, there's no repercussions because they know they got mommy or daddy's bank account to back them up. They don't need to worry about stable jobs, which means they have all the time and money in the world to travel and meditate and work on their art, all while giving you advice from the comfort of their tricked-out, expensive van. It's always very convenient for people to talk about how easy their life is without being off the grid. I get to meditate and I don't have to work a stable job. I just have my van. Also, my dad has extremely deep pockets with BlackRock. I go to the CEO's BlackRock's house for Thanksgiving dinner. It doesn't matter. Let me tell you, how can you get in with your inner chakra? Says Becky from Los Angeles, California. How do I get into my chakra? Can someone help me access that, please? These people have adopted counterculture as their identity, defined by hedonism and the lack of structure or drive. Oh, essentially what I'm saying is they're modern day hippies. Oh. No one likes hippies, dude. I don't think hippies like hippies, honestly. It's completely defined by drug use or asocial behaviors and privilege. Which every time I hear the word fucking privilege now, I want to take these long-ass gross fingernails of mine and drive them into my fucking eye sockets and pull them out. It's the only real word that defines the idea of like the kind of power that they actually have. Then they're trying to be like, it's all, look at, I mean, it's, come on, man, whenever. Dad, can you deposit $40,000 in my bank account?
Who is this?
This also translates very well into voluntourism. another quirky little saying, which is wealthy kids volunteering abroad. Using the aspect of volunteering at various places across the world, it's like vacationing and patting yourself on the back, which is pretty funny. It's sold to wealthy kids as an opportunity to change the world and discover yourself all at the same time. You get to clean up something and you get to find out a better person for yourself, right? It doesn't sound too bad on paper, but then you kind of like look into it, and the opportunities are all manufactured situations of poverty and need, advertised to wealthy Western kids as opportunities for growth and appeal in college admission projects. So literally, it's all fabricated, like fucking Westworld or something like that, all for kids to be like, God, I'm such a good person, as they fly back on their private jet. It just looks good on paper for like Harvard applications or other kind of like elite school applications. It's all bullshit.
Today's video is sponsored by our partners at Factor. Are you looking to eat healthier but don't have the time? Well, Factor is here for you. Factor's subscription service that brings nutritious meals to your door. All you need is 2 minutes to heat, eat, and enjoy. Factor has been my go-to dinner when I'm working at the studio. I like it because the food is restaurant quality, but it's quick and easy to clean up. Plus, Factor is flexible, so I can adjust my order size as I need to without any hassle. And with over 35 meals to choose from each week and specialty options like keto, calorie smart, and vegan, you're sure to find a dish that works for you. During the week, it's hard to keep up with everything, so skip the grocery store line, the prep work, and cooking fatigue, and get Factor. Head to Factor75.com or click the link below and use code PAPAMeat50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month's orders. That's code PAPAMeat50 at Factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. Thank you so much, Factor, for sponsoring this video.
And back to the video. The work is fake, the situations are manufactured, and the expenses to the travelers are these kids. They're big, they're a lot. I mean, talking about like spending $6,000 to go help somebody volunteer, spending an extreme amount of money to pretend to go cosplay as a good person. When I say it like that, it's really funny. It's really funny, but at the same time, so f***ed up. And the profits and money generated to help the poverty-stricken situations they're in are rarely, if ever, given to the actual cause that they're helping, which is a lot of charities, but still, it's just voluntourism. It feels like other areas too where people get to go on social media and be like, we're actually going to clean up this river and do this kind of thing. We're gonna go here to help. Which there's a little meme here that I thought was pretty funny. It's the Rich Suburban Kid Spiritual Transformation Starter Pack. I know some people like this, which is rich kid, smokes a lot of pot, comes from a really good family, becomes woke, quits job, still rich. Just want to put that, still rich, grows a man bun. This is the real essential starter. When the man bun kicks in, I need a man bun, man. As soon as I have a fucking man bun, we're starting a cult in this bitch. You hear me? Takes year-long vacation in India, becomes Buddhist, tells everyone on Facebook how he doesn't believe in possessions on his iPhone, runs out of money, moves back home, continues to make posts about awareness. This cycle is cyclical. Sometimes you move back home and it all starts again. Smoke the pot, go, it all happens. Maybe at some point when he turns Buddhist, he cuts off the man bun, regrows it, then goes back to India. There are some people we wanted to talk about in this. There are the cornerstones of the Mount Rushmore of Trustafarians, which first off, we'll start off with probably the head eagle, the head shaman of it all, which is Shannon Blake. You've probably seen this beautiful woman pop up on your time. Oh, Shannon Blake. Oh, I tell you what, no wonder. Looking up Shannon Blake tickets on Ticketmaster, no wonder those motherfuckers are sold out. Looking how she dresses on stage, god damn. Hey, my ass became a whole lot more spiritual after looking up some Shannon Blake songs, god damn. And it's after she had a child, which, listen up, ladies, there's really no excuse. Show the picture of Shannon Blake, there's no excuse that you can have a kid, you can't have a body like that. And I'll stand by that. Not a single stretch mark. How's that possible, Nick?
Cocoa butter.
Cocoa butter, holistic teachings. Which is like, I smoked the ayahuasca with the shaman. I don't know, it doesn't matter. But Shannon Blake is a shining example of true Trustafarianism culture, adopting bits and pieces of third world countries as their persona, mixing it together into an amalgamation of neo, folk, urban, bardic, LSD, kratom fever. Apparently it's ayahuasca. What the fuck is ayahuasca, actually?
It's a plant.
Is it just some other drug shit?
The shaman thing that will fucking destroy your mind.
You smoke ayahuasca to get the demons out of your head, but really it's just the fucking key that unlocks the door for them to come in.
It's actually a drink. You like drink it?
Oh, it's a drink.
I think so. Yeah.
Ayahuasca, dude. When are we gonna get some ayahuasca? Where's my chug jug? Need to get some ayahuasca chug jug. She's described as an e-girl conspiracy theorist. Her songs on TikTok have gone viral. This is the one that blew up and has hate baited everyone. Do you think this is for hate bait? She's like she wants. I think that she believes it.
It's genuine.
We probably can't play the song song, but we can at least have the lyrics up here. God, Shannon, what I wouldn't give to just be in that car with you. That Holy Mountain white hat, though, is pretty crazy.
What's crazy is people love her music.
The biggest part of that, she's talking about using pyramids for time traveling. Yeah, you know what? So what? Shannon Blake likes to time travel with the fucking pyramids, dude. You know what? Have you drank the ayahuasca with the shamans in Peru?
I'm going to with her.
I'm going to in my dreams with her. This is me astral projecting myself front row at one of our concerts. Oh, dude, do your thing. Woo! I'm actually getting too sucked in. I'm feeling too much of the vibe, dude. She refers to her followers as little shroomies. She's a role model for countless wealthy kids who idolize her lifestyle. People, especially on Reddit and other places, are very quick to go to Shannon Blake and say that her parents are wealthy and that she comes from a place of privilege. How dare you, Shannon Blake? But actually, on contrary, that's not true. She made a post that said that for the people in the back, I'm Native American and Hispanic and Irish. A crazy mix. Just a dash of Irish on top of that. I grew up in a family that speaks a fluent Spanish, visiting my relatives in Mexico, often eating homemade tacos. Why is that relevant? You know, your back's against the wall when you're just like, I'm a Hispanic and I eat homemade tacos, okay? No, okay, we went to Taco Bell once or twice, but it was just because it was around the corner. God. I grew up doing plant medicine, burning sage, doing sweat lodges and TPIS, and connecting with my ancestors as part of my culture. My great-great-grandfather was a famous Cherokee chief, so please stop telling me what their race is and what they can't do. You're unaware, that's offensive. If someone has light skin, blah, 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 being rude and disrespectful is offensive when you say those hateful things to other people. You know what? F***ing true. To give her credit, I want to say that I don't think that she's a rich kid. I will give Shannon Blake my undivided attention. I will. She's the perfect thing to actually inspire Trustafarian. She's up there. She's a tender, beautiful soul. She just uses kind of like a buzzword salad mix of it, and it's all kind of the same kind of stuff, whatever. But, you know, she's doing her own thing. But that doesn't stop the fact that, you know what, she's the staple for what Trustafarians aim to be. With over 1.1 million followers on Instagram, Shannon Blake calls herself an affirmation musician full of vibes, positivity, and for only $12.50 a month, you can see her boobies. Should we say that? She does have an OnlyFans, so I bet she's doing pretty good. Star from the bottom, now we're here. Not Drake, though, because the security guard got shot or something. I would hate to be Drake right now. Who the fuck am I kidding? I would love to be Drake right now. Are you kidding me?
Well, he's being called out as
Maybe I wouldn't like to be called Drake then right now. Her OnlyFans says get an uncensored look into her life. Foot emoji. Barefoot dancing naked in nature, yoga, hula hooping, and playing outdoors in the ocean, waterfalls, hot springs, mountains. So we got like $12.50 to spare, don't we? So that's a business expense, I'm pretty sure. Can we get the accountant on the phone? Can we just do just as an expense business? Okay, we can. Okay, cool. Which her aesthetic, I will say, it's drawn from several cultures like India, you know, island culture, Hawaii, Native American, you know, Druid kind of thing. Let's take a look in her home. Shannon Blake's house tour. Lake Tahoe. Oh, dude, living off Lake Tahoe? No one do that. OnlyFans. We gotta start an OnlyFans soon, dude. Something. How much money do you think realistically you could make?
probably a lot.
Let me just say, do you think I can make at least $1 million? OnlyFans?
I don't know about that.
If you want to fucking put me down, feel free to put me down, but why don't you set me down gently next time, you son of a bitch? Sharon Blake's in Lake Tahoe. It's a fucking awesome house. Lake Tahoe, it's gonna be fucking beautiful. Good genetics, man, that's all you need. Good genetics. We got didn't we? You're a good looking guy. I got my dog mother and my bullfrog dad. Well, these are some other cosplayers who kind of go in this way, which is Connor Sullivan. He shows himself traveling around impoverished areas of India, despite the fact that he's obviously got a good personal guard and private transportation. His entire journey is just sightseeing the poor. And Drew Binsky, who talks about how he got diarrhea from eating Indian food and, you know, doing that, and how Indian people thought he looked funny because he's different. Trubinsky, the naked guru. Expat moved to Thailand, talks about why everyone is leaving. Lost LeBlanc, one of many YouTubers who travel around the world and show off all the fun things they can do for cheap. Dollar dinners and dangerous backpacking, baby. Yeah. Get the out of my way, poor person. Get her. Backpacking bananas. Solo woman traveling through Istanbul, Turkey. She's really, really brave. Very brave. She knows no Turkish. She goes through her budget here.
In 30 days, I spent 21,000 Turkish lira. I paid 850 lira for the tandem skydive. I did 2 fun dives, and this cost 500 lira. 600 lira on my very first hotel, and this room was 834 lira per night.
People ask, why do they do this? Why go through the struggle of all this, right? 1, the spiritual journey. You got to get connected with your chakra, with God, the universe. Right? which volunteerism. For only $3,000, you can volunteer at an orphanage, teach English, and help build a school, all while being entertained by locals, going on safaris, and enjoying local culture. Doesn't sound too bad. According to the NPR, the youth travel industry is booming and currently valued at an estimated $173 billion.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Which it usually results in something like this. Okay, well, why does the beat actually kind of hit so hard, though? Am here dancing. That is really pog, and I do like that. So she just go around teaching people dances in impoverished countries? They're like, that was so fun. She's like, don't touch me! After the shoot, has hand sanitizer.
At least these kids are making money through TikTok, right?
Oh, sure. I'm sure she's definitely sharing her wealth from TikTok to those people. Building a library. One of the tasks is building sites for betterment and enrichment. Oftentimes, these sites have rich Western kids acting on sites where their construction work is so poor that the actual laborers come in at the end of the day to redo everything they did. The act of building is purely superficial. They're doing nothing better to help the kids. I tell you what, we're really railing into these motherfuckers, aren't we? Taken from Pippa Biddle's blog about her experience. Our mission while at the orphanage was to build a library. It turns out that we, a group of highly educated private boarding school students, were so bad at the most basic construction work that each night the men had to take down the structurally unsound bricks we had laid and rebuild the structure so that when we woke up in the morning, we would be unaware of our failure. It is likely that this was a daily ritual. Us mixing cement and laying bricks for 6+ hours, them undoing our work after the sunset, relaying the bricks, and then acting as if nothing had happened so the cycle could continue. That is unbelievable. And a lot of the things that are donated, like bundles of goods, are often sold or given away to friends and family of managers, because if the kids have nice bedding and toys, then nobody will want to actually give them anything. So they actually just take the good shit, like, I don't know, like a fucking Turbo Man action figure, and they're like, get that out of here. We actually need other shit. In countries like Uganda, thriving textile and clothing markets were driven out of business, putting entire towns and families into poverty. Textile factories were shuttered and no work has to be done. Farms for cotton were closed down, factories for dye and weaving were halted, and design and sewing industries destroyed. Donated clothing is received, repackaged, and resold so far cheaper that it can be made. 81% of all clothing sales are secondhand. So all the shit that people donate, they just package up and resell, and it takes all of their actual manufacturing projects and completely destroys them, because you have people coming in being like, a Supreme shirt. Yes! Oh my God, Nike Air Maxes. Yes! So they just immediately take them and sell them to somebody else. Many East African countries have actually banned the secondhand clothing. I can see that. Volunteerists were given extravagant meals while the kids, who were made to eat separately, ate beans. The interactions between the Trustafarians and the kids in the orphanage lead to the Americans often giving them very bad social advice regarding sexuality and lifestyle that could have put them in great danger. Oftentimes, money that is donated for medical care never actually ends up going to medical care. And the kids in these orphanages aren't even orphans. They're undocumented, anonymous, and abandoned or kidnapped for the process, often connected to sex trafficking. Do you feel good? Do you feel happy about these manufactured events that rich people are going to be like, oh, you're an orphan? And the kid's just like, get me the f out of here, please. The entire process creates an industry that does more harm than good. Feels good being a Westerner sometime. I tell you what. Their emotional savior complexes are driving out industry, reducing independence, and causing hostile markets. Which sometimes, too, it's the journey of experience. The ability to forever say, you know, when I was 20, I went to Africa and I gave a guy a Supreme shirt, and we did TikTok dances all day. It was such a riot. Wonder what he's doing now. The India gap year, part of the allure of the cheap lifestyle and relative extravagance, is easily achievable in India. It creates a fantasy that can be lived. A popular idea among young Westerners or upper middle class income is that they can take a gap year between high school and college, or even during college, to achieve self-discovery. The appeal of an independent journey is to an exotic location is tempting. It really is. I'll just do my red shirt this year and go to India and kind of see who I am as a person. You know what I don't understand about that? If you don't know the culture or speak the language or anything, how the f are you going to find yourself there?
The guide you pay.
Oh, the guide you pay, that's right. When you get there, he's like, everybody in India speaks English? Oh my God, Louis Vuitton store in India? That's POG!
Can I take a gap year?
No, you can't take a gap year, dude.
But my spiritual...
I don't care. There's work to be done here, my friend. There are so many programs offering just that. Pay to tour, volunteer to experience. Even during COVID, these programs were advertised as ways to get away from the disease. Get the hell away from COVID and just go to India. It's perfectly fine there. The spiritual journey of backpacking. The amount of f***ing people. I just backpacked across Europe. We backpacked across Asia. It was crazy. Sure, many kids go to summer journey, backpacking across Europe and staying in hostels. But India? Unaccustomed to the culture, the food, and the language, they're encouraged to confidently set food into dangerous areas to experience life. This moral and spiritual enlightenment is sold to them from scammers and actors pitching products to kids who never had to struggle to define them. So we do have our Trustafarians, right? We have our voluntourisms, right? But we also have affluenzas. The names just get better. It's insane. Which affluenza is a social condition. Individuals desire to be wealthier or more successful than others. The inability of an individual to appropriately understand consequences due to social status or economic privilege. Are you staying along with me, sweetie? Are you keeping up? I hope so. Affluenza is a pseudo-scientific term that refers to the unhealthy psychological and social effects of wealth. Term popularized in 2013 by Ethan Couch, who is the affluenza kid, who at the age of 16 killed 4 people during a DUI. Sentenced to 10 years probation and therapy in 2013, Couch's defense argued that he lacked a moral compass and didn't know right from wrong because of his wealthy family and thus needed therapy, not prison. This is me on that cliff in the Creed song, One Last Breath, and that's just me this is me jumping off. Because what is that, dude? I'm jumping off. Because what is... That's me. Anytime I do this now, you know I'm done with it. Tired. And he was spotted drinking at a party in 2015 and found in violation of probation. His mother hid him in Mexico for a time until he returned and was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Returned to prison in 2020 for failing a drug test for THC, which he argued came from CBD oil. The year prior to killing 4 individuals, he was caught under the influence with a naked, unconscious 14-year-old girl and was given 12 hours of community service and probation. Okay, done with it, Nick. Moving on from that, in 2010, an epidemic of rich kids roaming the streets of Bangkok unchecked came to light when Oracord, a 17-year-old woman, rear-ended another vehicle while texting, killing 9 of the 14 passengers, of whom 5 were seriously injured. A texting incident?
14 people in one car.
14 people in one car. It's a goddamn clown car, dude. Immediately after the wreck, she stood next to her wrecked car and victims laying out in the streets to finish texting her friends. Was said to receive a 3-year sentence of driving recklessly without a license, but lawyers pleaded and won for probation and community service, 138 hours of which took her 6 years to complete. God damn, dude. Her family lawyers have been successful at preventing any of the victims of the families from suing. Which then there's also another hit and run instance where we killed an officer, was verified under the influence, parents posted bail, and lawyers kept the legal system at bay until the son fled the country. He currently lives a lavish lifestyle in London, unaffected by his crimes. The family is worth $20 billion, paid off the victim's family with about $83,000. How generous. And currently the police chief is indicted for aiding him at his escape. 3 years ago, all of the charges were dropped. That's that Red Bull, buddy. It gives you wings. That's what they say. It gives you wings to fly to whatever fucking country you need to go. And then we have Renee Bach. And Bach, who is not a doctor, but a homeschooled missionary, went to Uganda at the age of 19 to set up a missionary health facility at her house called Serving His Children. She felt compelled by God to go to Africa to help the needy. She, quote, believed it was Jesus' will for her to treat malnourished children. The Serving His Children was operated from 2010 to 2015. Many people came to have your children be helped, right? A lot of kids died under her care. Once again, not a doctor. Not a doctor at all, but a missionary. The gardener that worked on the property said she dressed in a clinical lab coat, often wore a stethoscope around her neck, and could be seen medicating children. Okay, just want to reiterate, not a doctor, farthest thing from the doctor, a missionary, okay? Person based in faith, not in science. Not a doctor, just want to put that out there. Apparently, an American nurse who volunteered there said Bach felt, quote, God would tell her what to do for the children that she saw. Oh, God, Nick. She only worked with Bach for 4 months. A driver in Uganda claims that he would drive 7 to 10 bodies a week back to their villages just from the premise alone. This went on for 8 years, which if you speculate, it's a little over 500 people a year. So times that by 8, you got 3,500 dead Ugandans because a missionary wanted to play doctor. Like, you don't think that after every dead body, she was just like, his words are muffled. Well, I can't understand. I think there might be some kind of weird interference here. In 2019, rumors circled and some of Bach's blog posts surfaced proving she was treating kids without a license and without expertise. Many people became appalled when they found out that the young white women playing doctor in Uganda were actually killing hundreds of people. When changes were brought against her, Bach claimed the first-person perspective she used in her blog posts were a character and not her, and that she had a Ugandan medical team by her side at all times when she worked, okay? The person who is named Bach in the story, that's a character. It's not a first-person interaction. My blog, which is usually meant to be like basically a public diary, it's a short story, okay? That's like based on real stuff. Bach eventually settled a Ugandan civil suit in 2020 regarding the deaths of 2 children. So what did we learn from all this? Where did we end up after this whole thing? Sure, we started with Shannon Blake. Shannon Blake. If they could all just be like Shannon Blake, we'd be okay. The world would be healed. She drank the ayahuasca in Peru. What I wouldn't give. Unsuspecting wealthy tourists, unaccustomed to consequences or other lifestyles in their travels, discover quite often the risk of traveling to other countries. At 4 districts in India over the past 12 years, over 245 tourists have died. They're dead. They're gone. Okay? We're finding that these people don't know what they're doing. They're getting, robbed, murdered, worst. You know what I mean? All over the place. And it's all because they're just rich little aliens that walk into the world who are just like, what is this place? I feel good now. I'm going to give you a cookie. Yay! And then they go stay in their private jet and fly away. And that's what it is, right? But there's also other cases too, which are passport bros. The passport bros even are people of Western privileges who go and they look for Asian wives because they're supposedly more submissive. Sure. I don't know. I don't know the reasoning, but maybe we'll save that for another day. All I know is this. Trustafarian culture is tricky. When you're coming from a place of extreme wealth and you're trying to give back, sometimes it's worth giving back in local ways. Sometimes it's giving back in selfless ways. Instead of going there parading around for TikToks and Instagram photos, maybe sometimes it's worth just looking in on yourself and saying, how do I want to help the world, and trying to actively, proactively do that. But money will corrupt any man or woman. When money's in the picture, I just don't think anything truly ever good can come out of it. Maybe at times, but I don't know. These Trustafarians and these volaturisms and influenzas, I don't know, man. Just a bunch of bad eggs, if you ask me. But that's our video today. I hope you enjoyed it. That's all for this week, guys. See ya.
I looked back to this one part of the river, and it just kept flowing so steady, and it reminded me, to just go at my own pace.
Learn that from the...
Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on and sit on down, because today we're talking about the Lord. Or at least servants of the Lord. Man, I know that's all of us, but today we're going to be talking about some of the most despicable people on planet Earth, in my opinion, which are televangelists. Televangelists, I feel like the reach has never been greater. Right now, I see pastors tweeting out the Lord's message. I see people doing streams on Twitch praising the Lord. TikTok lives, Instagram reels, all kinds of stuff. It has never been an easier time to get the good word out. But televangelists are a different breed. Formed basically right at the beginning of television, it has been a big moneymaker in the church regime for a long time. And today we're going to be talking about some of the most despicable members of that. We're not going to be bashing any of the Lord's words. We're just going to be bashing the people who abuse the system. Because if there's one thing that is probably the most disgusting thing that you can do with any kind of power via TV or social media is to manipulate people who are in dire needs for salvation, and all they have to do is drain every penny from their pocket. So without further ado, let's get into it. Wait! Ooh, I got something to tell you. You better listen up. You better listen good. The Lord has come down and He's told me something. He's told me something good. He's told me something special now. He's saying that we officially have our Gamer Subs flavor. Raw meat. Ooh, baby, and it's the best. It's a nice watermelon cantaloupe surprise that'll make you say, oh, Mamma Mia, praise the Lord. And right now, you can get it at gamersubs.com. Just head on over there, get yourself a little raw meat, and use promo code PAPAMeat at checkout to get 10% off. Oh, baby. And you know what? As soon as you taste this, you'll be ordering them every goddamn month because they're that good. It comes in caffeinated, non-caffeinated versions, keto-friendly, low-calorie, okay? No sugar, all right? Nothing but pure goodness. Watermelon cantaloupe goodness. Perfect for any summertime needs. Hey, if there's any tithing, tithe to yourself, baby. Serve to yourself and get yourself some nice raw meat Gamer Subs. Support the channel, support Gamer Subs, and support yourself. Drink responsibly, drink tastefully. Gamer Subs, raw meat. I love you. Did you know there are over 1,700 megachurches in the U.S. alone? A megachurch is defined as having a weekly average of 2,000 more people and And, you know, you get into stuff too where the churches, I mean, Mega does not even scratch the surface to the size of some of these people's complexes. I mean, an unbelievable amount of people. Almost like every weekend you're going to see a pop star act. The stage is that big. There's that many people filling up stadiums, literal stadiums of attendees. It's pretty amazing. But with tax exempt status, churches are big business, pulling in an estimated $74.5 billion a year, which is pretty fucked. I mean, I don't think people really fully appreciate the tax exempt status. You know, for a lot of smaller churches where it's a mom and pop organization and maybe it's in a small town, having tax exempt probably helps alleviate a lot of the things of maintaining and running the church and putting it back into the community somehow, versus being a pop idol god amongst your own peers and having tax exempt status is fucking insane, especially whenever regular fast food workers, people who work regular 9-to-5 jobs are paying taxes every paycheck, and then you have fucking Joel Osteen over there driving Ferraris and all kinds of shit, not having to pay the government one single dime. It's pretty fucked, which we'll get into that right now. Peter Popoff, what a great name. Peter Popoff, who's worth $10 million, claimed to be a clairvoyant, but received messages from an earpiece from his wife, which was proven by James Randi.
She lives at 1627 10th Street.
1627 10th Street? Is that right? That's right.
Wait. Clairvoyant is where you can speak to the dead, right? What was that one show where it was like the medium? Remember the guy? He'd be like, I'm hearing a Tim, and someone would be like, that's my husband's name. He's like, you.
Basically him.
That was him as well? Okay. Which he was great because he was almost like a shaman. And he would accurately announce home addresses and specific illnesses of audience members during his healing sermons, called his skeptics tools of the devil. What's kind of funny about this is that I don't know the specifics of this, but I imagine that people who are showing up to the church, they probably filled out something of like, what's an ailment you have, or who's a recently deceased person, and they would probably fill that out and put it in there, and then they would have like specific seating or something.
She'd gotten her information from prayer cards filled out by the faithful before the show began.
Probably to where they could be like, oh, that's her name, this is her, you know, they have like a little form.
It'd be easier now. You can just Google up their name.
Or did you just look up somebody's Facebook? Were you pretty depressed yesterday? I was. How did you know? Everyone's like, I follow that bitch. That bitch is a doom post. She's a black pillar. For real. Good Lord. Sold miracle spring water on TV, which Peter Popoff's miracle spring water is a scam that involves respondents sleeping in the water, praying over it, and sending it back to Popoff with a donation. Pretty good deal. Also, to send thing back, that must be the shipping cost for that. Holy shit. In exchange, respondents are promised protection from disease and disability. Oh my God, that's so fucked up. As well as financial prosperity. The water is said to come from Russia Spring that protected those who drank it after the Chernobyl nuclear accident. I'm sure a lot of people drink a lot of water. Yeah, nothing bad happened to the Chernobyl people at all.
Did you use the miracle?
I used the miracle spring water twice. You sent me this miracle spring water, and I followed the instructions. 2 days later, I got a check for $2,500. The following week, I got a check for $30,000.
2 checks, double portion blessing.
What does that mean? What check?
I don't know.
Who wrote you the check? Could you be more specific? Whose name was on the check? She's like, you didn't prompt me that when you gave me the script. Whose name was on the check?
What if she's like, your name?
Your name's on the check. He's like, no, cut the broadcast. Cut the broadcast. His organization brings millions of dollars in a year, and no financial data is available since 2005 as they've gained non-profit status. The Lord is good. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Oh, thank you, Lord. One of Popoff's schemes was that he was claiming to sneak Bibles into the Soviet Union. What am I reading? What are we even talking about here? He reported that these Bibles were being floated over via helium air balloons. To facilitate this noble act, he requested large sums of money both for the large amount of Bibles he was buying and for the transportation. Popoff started getting huge sums for this effort, and when his skeptics asked him to prove the purchase of the books and balloons, he staged a burglary at his headquarters in 1985, which he later used on subsequent broadcasts to tearfully ask for more money to pay for the damages and replace the Bibles. That is so fucking funny. What a weird thing. So the scam that you're doing for people is that you're lying and say you're going to sneak Bibles into the Soviet Union using helium balloons. Why? This is why I feel so bad, because you always see a lot of time is that people who watch this stuff are people who are like, well, those people who follow that stuff are fucking dumb anyways. I'm like, these are like well-adjusted people who are almost indoctrinated into a cult. Like, they put so so much of their own faith and their belief into this thing. And I don't think that any of these people are truly stupid. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's probably some fucking dunces there. And there's probably a couple bad eggs, but I just mean, this is just sheer manipulation, especially for something that's been going on so long. It's fucking crazy, man. And also, it's kind of one of those like weird, what was that one, the Stanford prison experiment thing, where it's like anybody with a shrivel amount of power will abuse it, and then anybody who's like under that will abide by what they say and stuff. Just feels weird. I can see people kind of being in this thing where they would never question anything that he says, and God, that's so funny. Tearfully ask for the money back. What a fucking pussy. Which the biggest and highest earning of these churches is Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas, which is helmed by the ever controversial Joel Osteen. Joel Osteen's net worth is over $50 million. For a man who is serving the Lord and trying to bring people to salvation, I feel like you don't need $50 million. I'm going to go on a big limb. Maybe if he had some kind of act that he did. I'm trying to think, like if he juggled. If he did his sermons and he juggled, would that, I don't know. Even then, I'm not sure. He has one of those extremely big shit-eating grins too. It's just, it oozes with that just kind of like fake, almost like veneer mask. I hate it, but he has the prosperity theology, which believes that it is the will of God for the pious Christians to receive material gain. Kind of like that book, The Secret, I think, which is literally, if you think it'll come. Not that kind of come, but it'll come. He lives in a $10.5 million mansion and drives a $325,000 Ferrari. These are things that really, to any other person, you'd be like, well, hey, he's a rich guy. But to a pastor, it seems just a bit, dare I say, inappropriate to be driving a Ferrari as a pastor. It'd be so funny if a woman's just like, thank you, Joe, the service was so good. He's like, get off me, poor bitch, and just peels out. He takes a salary of $200,000 a year from the church. I doubt it. I bet it's way more than that. Yeah, on paper, he tells the government, I take $200,000 a year. It's like the same thing with like presidents where it's like, oh, you have $300,000 or $400,000 a year salary for the rest of your life. And I'm like, oh.
It's like Steve Jobs. I think he only gave himself $1 each year.
He gave himself $1, yeah, but it's worth billions in stocks and everything else. He claims that his money comes from his book sales. Less than 1% of the $89 million that was raised in 2017 went to any charities. The rest went into his extravagant lifestyle. And then during the COVID times even, there was a thing called the CARES Act, which is basically, I think everybody got like a check or something. He claimed a bunch of money and fucking lied about that too. Made a statement that he didn't claim any money. I didn't claim anything. Hey, the Lord's got my back, right? But the administrative data shows that he indeed claimed $4.4 million. There's a lot of celebrities that do that. Didn't Brett Favre do something like that too? Some kind of crazy shit. And then during Hurricane Harvey in 2017, he refused to offer assistance or housing in its mega church. He had this giant coliseum that he gives his sermons to every Sunday. People were like, hey, my house, like, we're gonna die. Can you let us in? And he's like, there's too much water. He kept claiming that there was flood water surrounding the entire building. Well, he would have let people in, but there was flooded water everywhere. There's just a plethora of photos that it couldn't look more dry. Is the unfortunate thing. At least pick a lie that makes sense with video and photo proof is what I gotta say. Joel later said that they did open the doors and it always was opened. Had earlier stated that their church might open if all their shelters were full, and eventually they did open in a minimal capacity. In August of the next year, Houston Mayor Turner declared a day of honor for the church and Osteen for their efforts. Wow, what a stand-up guy. I'm pretty sure he only opened it also after there was like immense backlash. Pretty sure people were like, this guy's a fucking piece of shit, whatever. And I'll tell you too, I'm pretty sure my mom has some of this dude's books and stuff. Do you think it's actually kind of an interesting thought experiment? If the majority of his wealth came from book sales, does that justify his extravagant lifestyle when the entire thing is you're preaching the Lord's word? You know what I mean?
Did he pay taxes on those book sales?
No, there's no way he paid taxes on those book sales. I doubt it. Well, even if he did, I'm just saying that like it's very hypocritical to be like, all you need is God, and then you give nothing back to anybody. And this is to me too, where I'm like, if it's your money, you can do whatever you want with it. But whenever you're a holier than thou kind of guy, it just seems fucking crazy. Next up, we have Jesse Duplantis, which he has a nice net worth of $20 million worth of pussy. Wow, only 20 million? Why don't you start selling some fucking books, you old bitch? Pastor, a voice of the Covenant Church. Voice of the Covenant Church. That's a fucking creepy ass voice of the Covenant Church. Claims the second coming of Christ has been delayed due to lack of donations to his congregation.
And so what has hindered all these things is because people are not doing in the financial realm, because we live in an economic world, what God's called them to do.
Come on, dude. Jesus is trying to make his way here. Can't fucking afford gas, all right? If you guys would just donate more, he'd show up faster. God, what do you not know about that? He begged his congregation to donate money so he could buy a $54 million plane after already having owned 3 private jets. Well, dude, I mean, come on. Private jets are kind of small. Turbulence is bad because they're tiny. Sometimes you need a $54 million plane. Got to get places. I like to think that he just travels like 45 miles in his $54 million plane, really taking a nice page out of the book of all the other superstars who fly around the world and stuff. But he's just like, I just want to go down the road.
The 4 jets of the apocalypse.